When my sister and I were kids, we had a horrible memory. Our family lived on an old and beautiful farm for a while. We loved exploring the corners of this house and farm and climbing the apple tree in the backyard. But our favorite thing was the spirit of that house. We called her Mother because she was so kind. Some mornings my sister and I would wake up to find a cup of water on our bedside table that hadn't been there the night before. The Mother Spirit had left them there, worried we would get thirsty at night. He just wanted to take care of us. Among the furniture in the house was an antique wooden chair behind the living room wall. Whenever we were watching TV or playing games, Mom would pull that chair forward toward us. Sometimes he managed to drag it to the center of the room. Mother just wanted to be near us. Years later, long after we left that house, I found an article in an old newspaper about the original occupant of the house. This widow had killed her 2 children by giving them a cup of poisoned milk before going to bed. Then he hanged himself. This is a horrifying story about a man who was driving home late at night when he saw a girl on the side of the road asking for help. The beautiful girl was wearing a beautiful white dress. The man gives him a ride and takes him home. The next day, while driving to work, the man notices that the girl left her jacket in her car. He goes to the girl's house to deliver the jacket to her. An old woman opens the door. He tells the story of last night to the old woman and gives the sweater to the old woman. The old woman tells the man that he made a mistake. But the man is surprised and asks the lady again. But the old woman says that her daughter died in a car accident a few years ago. She is stunned and thinks about the sweater and the memory of last night. This is the scary story of a girl who stays home alone for the first time. He has a dog that is always by his side. The girl listens to the news about a serial killer and decides to close all the doors and windows of the house and sleep. He wakes up suddenly with the sound of water dripping. He is so scared that he tries to go back to sleep and takes his hand off the bed for his dog to lick. As soon as he hears the sound of dripping, he gets out of bed to check the faucets in the kitchen, bathroom, and everywhere else, but he doesn't find anything. He goes back to his bedroom and lowers his hand again to lick the dog. The sound of dripping is still going on and the girl is very scared and can't sleep. But slowly he falls asleep. When he opens the door in the morning, he finds his dog dead and hanging. It was the sound of dog blood dripping that you heard last night. On the closet door, he finds a note that reads, "Humans can be dogs and lick your hands." The story of this ghost is that once a girl named Okiko was a servant of a samurai in a castle. One of Okiko's duties was to protect the samurai's collection of precious dishes. But one day one of these dishes was missing and it was not clear what happened to it. For this reason, the samurai throws him into a well. Okiko dies, but his soul does not rest. His spirit comes out of the well every night and counts the dishes. After he brings a small dish, he starts screaming. This goes on for a long time until a Buddhist priest calms him down. After my last class at the university, I said goodbye to my friend at around 8 p.m. and headed to my student house, which was about 10 minutes away from the university. I saw that the weather was good and I felt like walking, so I decided to walk from the university to home. My 3 friends and I had bought a student house and arranged for one person to prepare dinner every night. Luckily for me, it was my turn that night too, so I said to walk, I would reach home in time for dinner and buy 4 hamburgers on the way. This way I would be relieved from washing the dishes. A few minutes later, I arrived at a sandwich shop and bought 4 hamburgers. After a short time, I reached home and opened the door to see that they were waiting for me as usual and they still hadn't eaten anything. After eating dinner and watching football, we spread the sheets, turned off the lights, and slept. I couldn't sleep at all and my whole mind was occupied with the events that happened to me that day in the university. I think I was thinking like this for an hour and I couldn't sleep at all and I was rolling here and there in the bed until finally I felt a weight in my eyes and I was slowly falling asleep when I heard the voice of my friend in the room. He was talking in his sleep and he was delirious, saying that I woke up. But I said to myself that he must be having a nightmare and after a few seconds he wouldn't be hallucinating. I closed my eyes again and tried to sleep when my friend started hallucinating again in his sleep. But this time I couldn't just hear my friend's voice. It was as if there was chatter and laughter. So I got curious. I opened my eyes and turned my head to see who these sounds were. My God, who were they and what were they doing in our room? They are whispering in your ear and laughing again. My friend was also saying he was delusional in his sleep and they were laughing too. Their bodies were very white and it was like plaster until I looked at them as if they noticed me, and in a blink of an eye they all got up from the floor and ran towards the kitchen. Like plaster statues, but I couldn't see their faces well because I had just woken up and my eyes were still blurry and their faces and bodies were very bright and white. After they ran away, I pulled the quilt over my face and slept like that until morning. In the morning, I woke up to the sound of children, and when I saw my friend, I asked him, "Jack, did you have a nightmare last night?" He said calmly, "No. How come?" I explained the story to him, but Yusuf said he didn't notice anything at all, and he didn't have nightmares at night. The rest of my friends didn't notice anything either. He didn't hear my friend's voice, nor did he see any white creatures, and I was the only witness to the incident.